Yeah. The incremental refresh we discussed, and then I demonstrated how to configure the incremental refresh in Power BI desktop, right? Once you configure the incremental refresh, you need to publish it to the cloud, Power BI cloud service, right? Once you publish it to the Power BI cloud service, it is the responsibility of the administrator, okay? The administrator to schedule the incremental refresh, everything, okay? It is not the responsibility of the developer, okay? Even the project manager, we don't have any access to that, okay? Project manager or senior people, right? Even they don't have any access to it except the administrator, okay? He is the one responsible for setting up the configuration, everything. But importantly, you need to remember that we cannot do the incremental refresh for Excel files, okay? If you have SQL server, any RDBMS, right? In that kind of situations, you can schedule the incremental refresh. And first of all, what is incremental refresh? Just a quick recap. We discussed about the one-time data load and one-time data refresh. So we discussed about one-time data. So this is your source system. This is your source system. This is your source system, which is an OLTP system. Let's assume that this is your database, RDBMS, and it is a database. What database? This is your OLTP database, online transaction processing. See, there is no database by the name of OLTP is there, but this is a logical name, okay? We say OLTP database, but in real time, we say it's a source system. So in this case, this is a source system. So in some cases, they'll be using Hadoop as a source system, okay? And this is the source system. In general, right, the OLTP database, we take the data. This is where the transaction data will be there. We push it to the data warehouse. Data warehouse will have the historical data, but here you will not have the historical data. Where here? So the classic example, Amazon website, right? Whatever the orders you raise it, that one will get stored in the OLTP database, online transaction processing. So here all the transactions will happen in your source system only, in the OLTP source system. In the OLTP source system, we are not going to store the historical data, because if you store huge volume of the data, it can slow down the performance. The users like us cannot raise an order. We cannot do the checkout in a faster manner. Okay, what will happen is, for example, you want to buy a few products, and if you go and select those products, and if it takes longer time to display the price and everything, obviously you will lose patience. Okay, so what you will do is you will walk out of this one, right? You will go and order it from Flipkart, right? So you no longer prefer Amazon because it takes a lot of time. So in the right so this is our OLTP, right? Because Amazon website is accessed concurrently by many users across the globe. You, me, and like many customers, they access it across the time zone. All the time they'll be accessing it 24/7. They're accessing it. So in that case, it should be faster. The performance should be faster. Okay, and to improve the performance, what they do is, right, they don't keep historical data here. Maximum 1 year data they will keep here. Okay, 1 year data. Okay, and then the transactional data I'm talking about. Okay, not that product or category, that data will be there as it is. Okay, and the transaction, the order, the data, invoice, and all right, related information, they'll keep it to minimum 1 year or 1.5 years. That's all. But whereas the data warehouse, it will have 5 years of data in it, at minimum 5 years of data. It depends on the company, depends on the customer. So why they wanted to have the data warehouse? They want to perform analytics. They want to perform the analytics year on year, month on month, quarter on quarter, week on week, day on day, right? So week on week, sales performance, they want to compare it. Okay, so in that case, they need to have the history here. Hence, what they do is they store 5 years data, minimum 5 years. So in the case of bank, it depends on the industry. Bank, they store 10 years of data. In some cases, right, it depends on the industry. In some cases, they use 8 years of data. 5 years. Net, the data warehouse system will have the historical data in it. Okay, so what happens is, let's say, you have started your e-commerce website last year. For example, last year, 20th November 2021, you have started your business. Okay, and what happened so far, you are managing the data in your laptop and in some other server. Let's say you hosted your website on a GoDaddy or somewhere. Okay, and all the data are laying there. The volume of the data is not much high. What you decided, now you want to perform extensive analysis. If you perform extensive analysis on top of this existing data, on the OLTP system data, what will happen? Already millions of people are accessing this data. They are raising the order, they are canceling the order. On top, to perform analytics, if you run your queries against this one, your queries are basically doing analytics related queries, are basically performing aggregations. Okay, aggregations. You do some aggregation, everything already. If you, in addition, already it is overburdened, because many the end users are accessing database to raise their order. On top, if you strain your database by running your queries against this database, this can cause serious bottleneck on your source system. Hence, what they do for anything related analytics, you need to use data warehouse. Anything related to the order, raising the order or something like that, right? Or raising the invoice, everything, there is a separate database. That is what your OLTP. But in analytics, there is a dedicated data warehouse. OLTP, there is separate. So this is for end users. This is for internal users. Analytics is for internal users. Who are the internal user? Right from the accounts clerk to the C-level executives, the chief executive officer, chief operating officers, chief financial officers, right? Till that level, they will be hitting this one, the internal stakeholders. Okay, internal stakeholders, they will be using this one. You have a marketing department. So the marketing guys, they will be, if they want to generate any report, I'm not talking about operational report. There are different types of operational report is day to day, what is the sales, everything, right? Still they generate it here. But in general, the anything related to analytics, you will be hitting the data warehouse. This is where the historical data is stored here, and you will be hitting this. And again, the data warehouse, logically, they would have stored the data, stored the data by subject area. So this subject area is for this is called schema. Okay, they call it a marketing database schema, marketing schema. There is a separate logical place. This is where they keep all the marketing related data in it. So you will have, let's you have 10 dimensions and 2 fact tables, marketing subject area related data will be available. All the tables will be available here, and here the finance related data will be available. Okay, so now we got it, right? So we got the context here. So in this case, what happened? So now you started 20th November 2021 your business, and now it is 23/11. So what you did, what you decided 20th November 2022. Okay, now you set up a database. Okay, fresh data warehouse you created. So now you understood the need for data warehouse because your business has grown up like anything. Okay, the volume of the data has grown up like anything. The order number of orders what you receive is more. Okay, so in that case, what you decided, you wanted to have a set up a new data warehouse. You created the data warehouse. You bought an let's say in the cloud. You bought some or inside your organization, right? You bought an expensive server, and then the operating system, software, everything you set up everything. Now you want to push the entire starting from 20th November 21 to till 20th November 22, 1 year data. You want to do 1 year data, you want to push it to your data warehouse. Because you don't want to cause any bottleneck to your OLTP system, because the end of the day, the customers are very important. Okay, if you perform analytics against the source system itself, it will slow down the performance. So you decided to separate the data for analytics. You want to store the data related to analytics in a data warehouse, and this one. So now what you did, okay, you created a data warehouse, everything. So what you are doing is 1 year data, you push to your data warehouse. So now your data warehouse are 1 year data. So to load the 1 year data itself, for example, you was just take for Flipkart, right? So your volume of the data has grown up, even though it is 1 year, or let's say 2020, okay, 2 years data, okay, 2020 to 2022. So 2 years of data itself too high, right? There is a sudden peak, right? Flipkart story, sudden peak, suddenly the business has grown up like anything, okay? So what happened? Lot of orders, everything. The volume of the data is very high. To load this 2 years data itself into a data warehouse, it takes, let's 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Even though you have the cluster, Hadoop system, everything, still it takes 2 weeks to load the 2 years data. Right, painstakingly you are loading these 2 years of data into data warehouse to maintain the history. So anything after this, after 20th November 22, for example, 21, 22, today is 23, 23rd November, any new data comes in, after this is called your one-time load. One-time load. So what it is, these 2 years data, you are loading it one time into a data warehouse, because you need the history to be maintained somewhere, okay? And then what you are doing is 21, 22, 23, right? So it is not a one-off job. Once you load 2 years data into your data warehouse, your job is not going to end there, because you need the data on the post the 20th November 22 also you need the data. The 21st November, some transaction customers ordered the day, their products, and 22, all these, historical data. So your 21, 22 data is available here, but you wanted to push it here because you don't want to run any analytics. You don't want to run your job, or you don't want to use your Power BI desktop to get the data from here. Instead, your Power BI should access this data warehouse database. So in this case, what happened, 21, 20, whatever the new changes came in, new orders came in, that needs to be loaded, isn't it? So this is called the changed data needs to be loaded into your data warehouse also. This is one-time load. Apart from this, the new data, which is nothing but the changed data should also get loaded into your data warehouse. Okay, what are the changes, right? So after 20th November, whatever the changes coming in to your any new record coming to your, any new transactions that are happening in the OLTP database, right? When that one also needs to be pushed into your data warehouse, so that your data warehouse data and your OLTP database will be in sync. Got it? So for this, what is the idea of some cases, what they do is some tables we load it on a daily basis, right? The incremental load. One second, some tables we load it on a daily basis. The transaction order table and all, right? Order table. So here also you will have an order table. Even the OLTP also you have the order detail, something like that. You have something order detail table. Here you have something order fact. From here to here, you'll be loading it. So already you loaded 2 years of data, but obviously, if I want to see today's and last 3 days sales performance, obviously these 3 days, after 20th November 2022, data should also be available. So what we do is, in the case of order fact table, because this one, the order detail table will have huge volume of data in it. What we do is, instead of accumulating and loading it on a daily basis, we load it. Per day itself, we are getting, let's say, we are getting close to 15 million records. 15 M records per day itself. Your transaction volume is this. Number of records are 15 million per day. And if you think, no, I don't want to load it on a daily basis, once in 3 days or once in 7 days, I just want to load the data from order detail to order fact table, you are accumulating, right? So what will happen? The load time will increase. 15 million into 10 days, 10 days, right? So 150 million records, if you load it in order fact, it takes a lot of time. So what you do is on a daily basis, we load the data, 15 million data. Some cases we load it on an intraday basis. Some cases we load the data in the end of the day. Okay, the end of the day load will be there. So here what we do is if you load it on a daily basis, in this case, it's something like, you do your job on a daily basis. Don't accumulate your job, right? The same thing. So here, the same analogy goes here. Okay, the 15 million records, if you load it on a daily basis, what are the data that you get on a daily basis? If you push it here, your order fact, which is nothing but your data warehouse table, and OLTP table, order detail will also be in sync, right? Everything will be in sync. So that when you query your order fact table, you can find up to date information. You will find the up to date information. Your report will show the up to date information here. Okay, so whatever what is incremental load? Whatever the changed data, what are the changes that is happening, or new changes that is happening at your source system, that you are pushing it to your target system. Target system, in this case, your data warehouse. This is what your incremental load. So in the increment, that is what I explained you in the case of Power BI Desktop, how we need to do the configuration. So you need to use one-time load. So there we mentioned about archive, right? 2 years or 10 years, something else. It depends on the years that you want to push it to your target. You can do it. See, you might be wondering, okay, I don't have data warehouse. That is a different thing. Okay, I'm not going to discuss about. So now we understood the difference between one-time load and incremental load. Okay, it's something like I don't want to pay the entire loan amount, right? So I pay the down payment, and then every month I'll pay the EMI, right? You just think the down payment is something like one time, and incremental is something like monthly EMI, right? Till the loan get complete, right? So it's just simple analogy for you people to understand, but don't literally go by this, okay? Fine. And also again, there are some other things that you need to be aware. I don't want to discuss now. Probably we'll discuss it in other session. We have something else called okay, you might be asking, okay, 21, 22, 23, whatever the data comes in, I will load into data warehouse. Fine. For example, on 20th November, right? Till 20th November, we load the data. A customer ordered a product on 18th November. Okay, he cancels it on 21st November. This has happened in the past, but in this one, the 2 years data has, the customer raised order, right? 18th, he raised order. His order is captured here in your data warehouse, but 21st he is canceling it. Okay, so in that case, what will happen is you need to capture this one also, right? When the customer comes and cancel it, that record should also go in here. So for that, we will have a separate column available in our table, source system table. I'm not going to discuss at this moment about this. Okay, so that is what you would have seen it, something called deduct changes in the Power BI Desktop. You remember in the Power BI Desktop, I have shown you while configuring it. Here it will not show because I need to open that file. See, this is the one, incrementally refresh this table. This is my fact table. You just think, this table on a daily basis, you load the data into this fact table. You just think that way, okay? So here you have something called deduct changes when you do the configuration. You remember here, I did not create two parameters like range start and range end. Those two parameters are mandatory. Only when you create those two parameters, and this one will be enabled. When you click on this, this one will get enabled, and then you will find a lot of options. The first one is the archive, right? So 10 years data, one-off load, one-time load. And second one is the incremental. How many days data you wanted to load it on an incremental basis? Daily basis, 3 days once, or once in a week, or once in 10 days. That you need to specify. And the next one is you will find something deduct changes. What do you mean by deduct changes? This is what the deduct changes. The previous data, any changes happens, previously loaded data, but how will the data warehouse system know whether the customer A has cancelled an order which happened before 20th November 22, on or before 20th November 20? How will it know? Unless you push that data here, the cancelled data, right? The cancelled order, you need to push it here. that also will be captured here. So for that, what we do is in the existing table, in the order detail table, we will have something called update date. Update date column. They use something like this update in addition to the business column, something like order number, order date, customer key, customer ID, SKU, right, and category and location, all the things. There is separate column update date. So what happens is whenever the customer cancels the order, here it will capture it. Okay, so what we do is we compare anything, between this. So for example, on 21st, when you load the data into your this one, right? So in the update date, also 21 was, even in the case of cancellation, what will happen is cancellation happened on 21st November, 21st November. This one, in the order detail, there is a separate column called update date. Okay, 21 November 2022. So 18th, he raised an order, but even though you canceled on 21, this column will, so that's the reason why we use this column to do the filtering. Anything above 20 November, and for example, in the daily incremental load, 21st November, you want to load the data, you want to check the anything above 20th November and less than or equal to 21. So in that case, what will happen is, since you are using update date column to compare it, right? So update date column has values, update date column is more than 20th November and less than or equal to 21 November 22. So still you are capturing this record. So that is what the deduct changes tells us. Okay, we have an option called deduct changes. You can probably watch my previous video, I explained it, that one. Right. So but if you don't have this column, that is a different thing. Okay, that's a painful thing. Okay. But usually they will have this column, update date or something like that, okay, using which you deduct, so that in the past, whatever, changes that, happens currently, right? For the past data, if any changes happens currently, so you can capture it with the help of update date column. So this is the one we use it in deduct changes. Okay. Now, the problem is, right, with the premium license only, I can give you the demo. I just checked, explored it, okay, with premium license only. So now the question is, okay, we have configured the incremental refresh policy in the Power BI desktop, and we published on cloud. But now from the cloud, is there any way I can test it? So test it, right? You need to have the premium license. Otherwise, so I have only pro license. Premium licenses cost a lot. But in the interview, if they ask you, you can tell them, if they ask you in the interview, what license are they using it in the production system? You can tell them they are using premium license. Don't ever say they are using pro or free license. Okay, don't ever say pro or free license. Okay, all the customers, they use only premium license. Premium is a bit costlier, the license. What I am using is the pro license, because my free has gone. Okay, I'm not able to use the free version, because 60 days only they give free access to the cloud service. Okay, beyond that, if you want it, you need to renew it. Okay, so you need to pay every month $10 per user. Okay, that's all. But to test this, you need to have the premium license. I don't have it. The interview, if they ask you, you tell them, yeah, they are using premium. Though the premium license used, we don't have access to the production system. We have a dedicated admin. He's the one doing the, the setting everything, testing everything. We don't have access to it. The testing everything. Okay, you just tell that way. Okay. The same thing, anything related to release management, you tell them. So I told you, right? So dev to QA and QA to UAT, and in real time, you'll be seeing more than one folder. Okay, UAT and workspace. Okay, and then you have something else called production. Okay, and this from year to year, it will get. So you have some button when you click on, automatically all the code, your report file, data set, everything will get pushed automatically to your QA. And once the testing is, everything is done, and if you fix it, it will get moved here. So you can tell them, this is where release pipeline. They say release pipeline. Don't worry, it's not a rocket science. Okay, you just think, once you develop your code, you test it here. once you test it, and if you find any bug, you fix it. And then you tell the QA team, what they do is or the release management team, okay, they push your code from your dev workspace to the QA workspace. These guys, they test your report, everything, and then if they find any bug in your code, they will, come the testing team. Okay, you need to fix it, and then if everything is fixed, then they will move to UAT, user acceptance testing. User acceptance, for example, marketing manager, VP sales, those guys, they come and test their report and dashboard. If they find it everything is good, or if they need any additional recommend, they'll come back to you. Okay, that is called change request. And the next one is, okay, you implemented, you fixed any additional requirements, or while the user testing it, if they find it any problem, right, they will complain, you need to fix it. Once everything is fixed, and then only it will get moved to production. So once the code moved to production, you are not going to make any changes to your production, because it's a mission critical. Okay, you're not supposed to do anything. It will have a serious impact on the business. So you tell them anything related to, release pipeline. What we do is we will support the release management team from offshore. Yeah, okay. What we do is, right, so in case of any bugs, we push the code back to our dev environment, and then we'll fix it. That's it. Okay, we do it. The release, anything that release management, they'll do. But I know the process. This is the process at an high level, but I never involved. Smart way you can escape. And then next one is the incremental load. Okay, you can tell this is admin's response. This is release management. This is admin responsibilities. Okay, don't put everything on your head. Okay. That's it. Okay, now you understood what exactly incremental thing is all about. Okay, incremental refresh. The concept you understood. Any changes happen. The capturing the changes that happen to the any new changes, capturing any changes that happens at your source system is called your incremental. So we do daily incremental load. They will ask this question in the interview. The ETL. What is ETL? Extract the data. So what is extract data? This is your ETL, right? So this is your OLTP. Your e-commerce site store the data here. Okay, and the transaction database. Okay, and then what you do is you don't put the data directly into data warehouse. What we do is we have something called staging area. Guys, remember this one. Staging area is also a temporary area. Maximum 2 months or 3 months data only we'll be having it. In the OLTP system, we extract the data, simply extract the data from the order tables. What are the tables that are required for your analytics? You will extract it from all the tables that are relevant to your analytics. Okay. In your report, you wanted to perform inventory related analysis or anything related to finance, right? Those tables only you will be, you'll be accessing it. You will have a read only access, and then you extract the data and then simply load it here. It's something like copy paste. The staging area only, you do all kind of data pre-processing. You clean the data, and then in case of any duplicate records, in case of any appending or merging, everything you do it here. This is a temporary storage area. The staging area is kind of nowadays, right? They use something called data lake. So you can tell them data lake, we are using it. The data lake, this is where we get all our source system related files. Okay. So what we do is we extract the data, and then we store it in a data lake. Here we have some database. Here we store the data in staging environment, and then here we do all data pre-processing. That is nothing but transformation. The T is happening at your staging area. Guys, remember, one guy was literally panicking when they started asking ETL. You do all kind of transformation. What is transformation? You remember, I assign the correct data type. In the case of date, the Power BI assign the text data. Or while extracting the data, what will happen is the text file or the table, it will get stored. Let's assume that it gets stored as a text data type for the date column. In some cases, what will happen is some formatting error. That is one of the data transformation. Okay, T. Okay, using Power Query Editor, we did all kind of data pre-processing, like removing the duplicate records and removing the blank records. And in case of any missing values, we address it. And then what we do is we join more than one table. And then what we do is we load it in the data warehouse. Okay, in the data warehouse, in what sequence you load the data? We have fact table. This is very important. You have the dimension tables. You first load the data in step 1. You load the data in dimension tables. And then only you load the data into fact table. Load the data first from the OLTP, whatever the data comes in, right? You do the cleaning. And then what you do is while loading it into your data warehouse, in your data warehouse, you have dimension tables and fact tables. First, you load the data in from staging. First, you load the data into dimension tables, and then you load the data into fact table. This also they are, they asked in what order the data get loaded into a dimension table and fact table. So just because you have 10 dimension tables, not all the 10 dimension tables will get loaded on a daily basis. For example, in the case of incremental load, right, all the 10 tables, dimension tables will not get. For example, you have introduced a new product. A new customer comes in, right? The customer shipping detail, customer shipping detail, everything needs to store, right? Any new customer comes in, orders it. The customer dimension table will get loaded first, and then the fact table should get loaded. The customer dimension. Any new product comes in that case, a product dimension needs to be loaded. Daily basis, we don't need all the dimension. We don't load the data into all our dimension tables. You just tell them in case of any new customer comes in, right? So in the case of e-commerce system, every day new customers, we can expect not only the old customer, new customers also will come and order it. So in that case, the customer dimension table needs to be loaded fast, because in the customer dimension table only you have customer key and customer name. Whatever the customer key that is there in your customer dimension, the same customer key has to go here. Without loading it here, if you directly load the order transaction here, what will happen? The customer key will not be there. The corresponding customer key will not be there here in the dimension table. It will check behind the scene. So what will it will fail it? The customer key job will fail. So first you need to, this is kind of a master table, okay? The my dimension tables, the customer dimension table, store dimension table, date dimension table, and you have the location dimension table. Likewise, you have different dimension tables are there, right? So first your dimension table needs to be loaded first, and then only your fact table should get loaded. The fact, in our case, we are loading the fact table on an incremental basis daily, okay? Daily, we are loading the data on an incremental basis. How frequently you load the data into a fact table? These are the questions you can expect in the interview. So, and what is L? L stands for loading. So once you do the T here in the staging area, and then what you are doing is you are doing the loading here, right? You are loading the data into your data warehouse. It's something like, you do all the cooking in the staging area, and then what you deliver it to your customer, something like that. Okay, this is your loading. Okay, L will happen between staging and data warehouse. The T is happening at your staging area, and then the E is happening at between your OLTP to staging area. You simply extract the data. Here, you are not going to do any transformation. If you do it, it will affect the performance of our OLTP system. Already millions of people are accessing it. You understood, right? Remember this point. This is more than sufficient to handle it. Okay, again, they'll ask you star schema, all this. You just watch my previous video. Okay, and then you'll be okay with that. Okay, and importantly, in the case of incremental load, obviously, in order for this incremental load, data refresh, everything has to happen. You need to have the data gateway. Satya, you were asking this one, right? Data gateway. So in the case of data, you need to have the data gateway should run in your local system. If you want to do the data refresh, for example, you have an SQL server. This is an SQL server. The OLTP, whatever I'm talking about, this is an SQL server database. And in this system, you need to have the data gateway should run. Power BI data gateway should run here. So they will ask, are they using personal mode or standard mode? You can tell them standard mode. What are the data gateway modes are? Well, one is the personal mode and standard mode. In production system, we are using the real-time scenario, we are using standard mode. and Power BI premium license we are using it, then your screening part is over. They'll think your profile is genuine. Okay. 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 Data gateway. This data gateway is an agent. Okay. This is the one is helpful to transfer the data from your SQL server to your cloud. Okay. Let's this is on cloud, right? So this is on cloud. So to transfer the data from SQL server to the cloud, all these things, right? Or from here to staging, from transfer the data from staging, or here a data gateway should run in your local system. Without running the data gateway, you cannot push the data here. It will not push, okay? It will not read. For example, from the cloud, let's say you published a report on cloud. If the user wants to read the data which are available in SQL server, the latest data, what will happen is the data gateway should run here. Okay, that is the kind of the agent or bridge. Okay, so using which they'll be able to read the data, whatever the daily changes that are happening, they'll be able to view it, and the data refreshing will happen with the help of data gateway only. There are two types of data gateway: personal mode, standard mode. Standard mode is the one is used in the case of real time. Okay, you understood, right? Data gateway. And I'll show you in my laptop. Even if you create a login credentials in the Power BI Cloud Service, make sure that you downloaded the Power BI Data Gateway and then you install your local system. For example, here I just go here and just type Data Gateway. Look here, on-premises Data Gateway, personal mode, and this is my standard mode. Okay, and the standard mode. And when you click on it, it will open it, but you don't have to do anything. Okay, simply you just note down the gateway name. Okay, that's it. And if you wanted to do some kind of testing, everything, you need to specify that one, the data gateway name there. Let me finish this course, okay, and then what we will do is we will have some kind of like code along session. Okay, in that kind of situation, you will get more comfortable with these terms, everything. Okay. Look here, data configurator. Okay, you just want to load it. It will take some time to load it. The data gateway needs to be installed if you want to work with the cloud. Make sure that, right? For example, you want to publish your report. You go to Power BI desktop, and then you click on the publish button. And if this report needs to be deployed on your cloud, the data gateway should run here. So data gateway is all set up. It is up and running. Okay, that's it. So where should I download it? Just go ask Google. In life, if you have any questions, ask Google. Okay, so download. Anyhow, I will tell you that one also. Download Power BI Data Gateway. Personal mode and standard mode. Look here, and you just click on it. It will get downloaded. It will initialize the download. Once this has been downloaded successfully, the next step is just the click on this exe file. It'll get opened. Okay, I'll just show you now. So 9:41. I need to use the time very effectively. It's already 9:41. Okay. I click on run. See, anyhow, I just run it one more time. But when it asks, when it prompts for installation, I will stop it because already I installed it. It should not mess up the existing one. Yesterday, I was having some problem. The connecting to the cloud. Somehow I fixed it. Look here, it'll ask don't change anything. Simply, I accept the terms of use. In your case, it will be like install. Since I've already installed it, it will ask me update. Okay. So you need to click on you need to select this one, check on this one, and then click on install. It will get installed. That's all. Okay. Once that get installed, you just go and open the gateway like how I opened. Gateway and click on this one, it will open that one. When it opens, you note down the gateway name, that's all. Service settings. When you go to service settings, if you want to, you can restart it. And then the diagnostics, network, and connectors. And okay, this is the folder it is running here. And status. New version is available. See, every once in 2 months or so, right? They keep introduce new releases like Windows. Yeah, while installing it, it'll ask you it'll automatically pick up your thing. Okay, the system name. Okay, so that one you need to remember it. For example, if I go here and if I go to something like dev order, so this is where I publish the report. You remember last session I have shown you how to do the incremental data refresh. And here, if I go here, if I go to settings, yeah, this is where we need to do the configuration. So if you go here, gateway config connection. And you will have something called refresh history. If you click on it, you will find whether the refresh happened or not. Okay. The data got loaded from your local laptop to cloud. That is what this one says. You can check that history here. And the gateway connection, what all the files that you are using it, right? So look here, the SQL server, I'm using it here. In this case, what database I'm using it, right? I need to, here, it is not database name, it is a service name, okay? SQL server service name. And what you do, you just click on the actions here. Guys, it's too much for you, non-technical people. See, now we develop the report. We need to share our report, but our people are scattered across the globe. One guy is in California, other guy is in San Francisco, sorry, the Cincinnati. Across the US, they are all scattered. Our people are, because they have a global presence, right? They want to see the report. So what we are doing to share the report, we are publishing it on cloud. Okay, now I published my report on cloud, but every day that report, whatever I published, it should show the up-to-date information, right? So for that, what we are doing is our SQL server database is there in some server. And even though it is on, everything is on cloud, okay? But still SQL server to there, the data should get refreshed, right? So see, in the SQL server, the data should refresh in the sense, don't get confused with the direct query mode. There are some tables we will be using import mode even in the case of SQL Server. In that kind of situation, anything you use import mode, import connected mode, then you need to refresh the data. So this is what, this is where you need to do configuration. This configurations and all, probably we will have it, at the later point in time. So what we are doing just for your sake, okay, the report got published. Next step is in order for my report data to make my report data up to date, you need to do the configuration here. Where you need to go? You need to go to the data and select settings. I'll just show you one more time. See, these are all admin job. You can see there are smart guys without even logging into Power BI Cloud Service, they clear the interview. Classic example is Anuradha, Rashmi, all these people. Just watch this video. If you are smart, that is more than enough. Simple common sense, analytical thinking, that is more than enough. And click on settings. And if you go, this is where we do the configuration. These are all admin job. But still, if you know more, that will be good. But if you are taking up, Monica, if you are taking up freelancing job, they expect you to do everything, okay? You just click on here and actions, right? You just click on it here and it will show you all your files, everything. And supposing SQL Server, I wanted to create it, add to gateway. Initially, nothing will be there. and you need to click on add to gateway. I'll just show you one more time here. Somebody's chatting. Please concentrate here. Look here, this is the first time. Okay, you see in your report, you have used the table from SQL Server. You publish the report. Now what happens is you need to keep that report up to date, right? So what you need to do is you need to configure it here. So you need to refresh the data on a daily basis. Let's assume that way. So initially nothing will be there here. It will be blank here. You need to click on the down arrow. You will find add to gateway. You need to specify some here. So this is, look here, this is the name I gave it for the gateway. You remember in my local system, I installed the gateway, right? So it automatically shows. You don't have to remember that one. It automatically picks up the gateway name. And then you give the data source name, whatever you wanted. And then the next one is the source type is SQL Server. And in this case, the desktop is my SQL Server, the server name. This is my SQL Server name. It should, see, if I give you some letter to deliver to your friend, you will ask, right, in which city, in which street, which avenue he lives, right? The same thing here. So you need to specify the server name, and specifying the server name is not sufficient. You need to specify the database name. Look at star. In which database, in which server, what type of server? Is it SQL server or Oracle server? Okay, simple common sense. Next one is authentication method. I'm going to select Windows. Here, look here. I'm going to say here the server name, username is, I think, desktop. I need to specify desktop. Anyhow, I will show you the 8KBBDN3. And here in my case, this is the username and my password. And then if I click on create, it should not show any error. Look here, it's not showing any error. Guys, don't think, I did it everything. I'm genius. No, even I failed. Okay, I got error everything initially, but this is how you need to configure it. After I post the error, I learned. But these are the steps that you need to follow it. Look here, now deep neuron gateway is running on desktop. SQL Server, look at tick mark. In case when you click on add to gateway, and or here you can specify the SDF. This is the data source name. Now I give it, right? So if you want the report that got published on cloud to read the data on a daily basis from the SQL Server, you need to set up this one. How do I set it? Initially, it will be blank. Click on add to gateway, click on add to gateway, and then it will take you there. You watch my video. Okay, if I repeat it, it will be annoying. Okay, when you watch the video. Okay, add to gateway, how I did this. Okay, and the username and password, the server, your local laptop name, followed by the / and the welcome I gave it. But in real-time scenario, you will be specifying your cloud SQL server. Your SQL server is running on your cloud, Azure cloud or AWS cloud. Usually the Azure cloud. Okay, you need to specify the server, the name. That's all. Okay, if you specify, and then if you know the username, they will give you the username password. Okay, and with that you will be able to create this one. Once you connected it, next you see here adventure works. The admin has granted access. Okay, fine. Everything is fine. The next one is schedule the refresh. And I'm going to toggle this on. And then here you have option like daily or weekly, right? So only these two options are available. And that is why this one is not that flexible. And the people use something called Power Automate. You will have a lot of options, daily, weekly, monthly, fortnight and all, okay? And I don't remember all the options, but here you have only this many options. So daily, for example, this is the one. And time, you can add another time every day by listen. Now it is, I'm going to say 10 p.m. 10 p.m. you refresh the data. Okay, data set owner, and then send a refresh failure. In case of any refresh fails, okay, what happens is send an email to the data set owner or someone, apply. That's all. Updated, that's it. And then later point in time, when you come and see here whether the refresh happened correctly or not, when you click on this, you will see that completed. If you see any error, you need to fix it. You need to have a lot of patience to understand everything. But to my knowledge, compared to data science is very vast. Okay, remembering so many things, very, very difficult, the formula, everything, but it is nothing. Okay, now you understood what is data gateway, what is incremental refresh, what is one-time data load, what is incremental load, and how to configure it, where to configure it, you understood. If you know this much, this is more than sufficient. And also in the past session, we discussed about the row level, static row level security and dynamic row level security, how to configure it. That's it. Even those things will be done by admin guys. The reason